Okay, fuck it. We're gonna do a part two. We're gonna do a part two. Okay. So page 26. What does this say? Filler page. We're off to a great start. We are off to a great start for the second half of the comic. I am gonna show you how to draw Alex. For the last time, he's not pizza. My dad called him Pizza Face because he was like a sphere with a cone head, and so my dad's like, "Oh, his head is like a pizza slice," and it's like, "No, it's a cone." First, you draw two large circles, then you crumple it up into a little ball, and then throw it in the trash. This is straight out of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. His happy face character, I forget the name of it, but like he would just end up throwing all the pages away, and it was like, "That's how you draw Alex." Oh, this is so smart. He has the emblem on his chest that I use for the land-based Reddit YouTube channel. Don't you have a vagina of some sort? Yeah. Dude, we should totally copulate by use of my man penis. Wait, don't go. I didn't tell you the best part. Holy shit. Why? Why did I draw that? Why did I write that? Alright, day two. So this whole thing, the whole point that character at the very first page was like, I think that we only have a week left. It was supposed to separate the entire comic story structure into basically 7 chapters. So basically now we're in day two. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we had a prequel area that was about Tommy the night before day one. And it's like, how does that relate? But anyway, yeah, so it was originally supposed to be like 7 days, and then each day you would see like another part of Clocker's robot, which you can already tell by now is an arm and like the staff, which was supposed to be like a clock tower sort of stuff. Which, yeah, I'll say it. Um, in the Christian Sonichu comics, he got a lot of flack because some of the characters that he drew that were better than the other characters, or some of the vehicles he drew, were straight out of Transformers Animated, and he just kind of traced them. If you look closely, you can notice that the arm here is based on Transformers Animated Prowl, the motorcycle transformer. In fact, that was kind of the entire emphasis of the mech suit that Clocker was designing for himself, was that it was going to be Transformers Animated Prowl, but without the head. During the transformation scene, the part that would unfold for Prowl's head to pop out would just unfold, and then he himself would climb into that chest section, and then he would be the head. How that works for a motorcycle? Not entirely sure, considering I didn't really seem to follow a scale, and I thought that a human being could fit inside of a motorcycle. Moving on to the next page. 28. Museum of Powerful Weapons, please stop robbing us. This is this one panel here, Museum of Powerful Weapons, with a sign up front saying, please stop robbing us, I think is my only funny original joke in this entire thing. So, as you probably saw in like 2 pages before this, my own self-insert filler page character is like, there's no girls in the comics. So I wanted to fix that, and one of the characters I introduced in my middle school comics was named Olivia Obelisk, which now I should probably bring up that the entire Leviathan mythos that I have constructed for this comic is ripped entirely out of Yu-Gi-Oh! One of the things I brought in from Yu-Gi-Oh! During my middle school comics was the idea that all of the Egyptian god cards were real. And that included Obelisk the Tormentor, Slifer the Sky Dragon, and the Winged Dragon of Ra. And during the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, which I think released in 2006, I don't know. Near the beginning of that, Yugi summoned all 3 of the Egyptian god cards instead of a duel against Seto Kaiba, and then had the Obelisk the Tormentor absorbed the other two god cards, which turned him into this gigantic orange Obelisk the Tormentor. An orange obelisk, if you will. Now, so in middle school, I ended up drawing this as sort of a preamble to the Leviathan storyline, where I constructed all three Egyptian god cards by the characters using the dual discs because it was just like, hey, it's middle school. What if they were using Yu-Gi-Oh? Which, side note, the only good comic that I did in middle school was essentially just a rip-off of the tournament arc from season one of Yu-Gi-Oh, where the main character was, well, not the main character, the main antagonist, Pegasus, Maximilian Pegasus, was instead portrayed by me, but the entire time he kept the entire comic run he was complaining that he needed to get back with his one true love, and he needed to do so by getting all the souls on Earth that he possibly could, and they were all like dueling because of it. But then the twist at the end of the comic, and I made sure to try to stretch this out as long as I could, like at least like 12, 14 pages or something, and I gave it to my friend to read. And I excitedly watched him read it because I was so excited to see his reaction when he got to the twist, and he really was just like, what? Because the true love revealed at the end was just a grilled cheese sandwich. So Olivia Obelisk inside the middle school comics was this character who was essentially like, I drew the orange obelisk character, and that character had like a weird chest piece, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's just make that chest piece a main plot element, and that so like I said in the previous part, that was one of the main things that the Leviathan character in my middle school comics was associated with because he ended up using it to become way more powerful. So Olivia, like that's the orange obelisk armor right there. It's supposed to be like shoulder armor and it has like a little circle in it. That's it. So I had this character named Olivia Obelisk who her whole thing was that she was a new female character that I introduced for the comic, and her sole purpose is that she has the obelisk armor. So I end up introducing the Levi character, immediately killing him off, and then replacing him with this Olivia character. Now, as you can see, I was a teenage boy. That is my only excuse for drawing the chest like that. It was said to once belong to the Leviathan itself, and he would come back once it held enough souls. Hitler really, we're gonna bring up Hitler. Okay. Whew. Let's ignore that. And then the security guard is like, I don't care. Take it. And then she does. She takes it. Okay, so zooming out, we can see I didn't really try during this page. I didn't. 5 panels. So she puts on the chest armor. She steals it, she puts it on, and then for some reason he's like, "No, my power." Here's what I was talking about with the 4 antler design and the 3 eyes. So his whole face design is he has like a forehead eye and then 2 other eyes, and then his entire like face structure is just the 2 eyebrows that wrap around the other one while retaining the third one. And then I had this thing where I was like watching Fairly Odd Parents at the time with Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, and he has this thing where like the antenna, his hat stretches, right? His hat stretches until it's off screen. So I decided, because I didn't really know how the antenna, how the antler things would end. I didn't know if they were like pointed or, which is a thing. If you're writing a story, you should probably know how the characters look like if you're drawing them. But I decided that that would be like the shading is good in this. So I'll give it that. Don't know why her putting on the shoulder armor saps him of all of his power, but whatever. So one of the things I learned while drawing this is if you have a character without a name, and then kill them off or do something terrible to them, your audience, and I was like giving this around to all of my different classmates to read and kind of gauge the reaction, they don't give a shit if the character has like no personality and no name and then they die. Like, nobody cares. You need to give them a personality and a name for them to care. They need to be able to speak also. Oh, poor Levi, what's wrong now? There's a Levi reference. Not that the toy swapper cares, but my power has been tapped. If you don't know what a toy swapper is, essentially that's somebody who like buys a toy in like a retail store, takes it out of the package very, very carefully, puts in an old toy, and then returns it saying, "Oh, this is defective. I don't want this anymore." Inside the package, so essentially they get the new toy and they don't have to pay for it. Not more long-winded exposition. It's panel. Some fool must have actually put on my shoulder piece. Like, alright. Alright, so I forgot about this. Um I wanted to have like actual powerful weapons inside of the place. So, oh, here's a sword. Here's the Yin Yang Yo-Yo from Shaolin Showdown. Here's Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. This is Spring Heeled Jack's boot from Jackie Chan Adventures, though it doesn't look like it. Here's some more Shen Gong Wu from Shaolin Showdown. The Eye of Dashi, I think. Golden Tiger Claws. A talisman from Jackie Chan Adventures, but who knows which one. This is supposed to be Sari's key from Transformers Animated. This one here is the Matrix of Leadership. That's a Chaos Emerald from Sonic the Hedgehog. Uh, Helpfully labeled Invisibility Cloak, folks. You don't get better than that. Over here we have a mallet hammer from the Mario games. A little below that we have the crown of Taiju, which would have eventually become like a main staple of everything that I write. And then underneath that, another thing from my middle school and high school comics, the counterpoint, the crown of Baitsu. Neither of those are words, by the way, Taiju or Baitsu. I made both of those up. And she's like, fine, I'll take the freaking sword. Because apparently all of these are supposed to be so much worse than the sword. Okay. And then... Then... Seaweed is a character from a lot of my comics where I keep having to redesign it because... And we actually have a lot of empty space here, so I'll draw it. The character... Let's zoom in some more so it's more blank. Character looks like essentially like the closest to whoa. Essentially the closest to a stick figure you could get. His arms were like always outstretched because I didn't know how to draw them very well. He was always wearing long sleeves despite being an underwater hero. His legs were just like triangles. He was supposed to be wearing like leggings, like compression leggings, and then he had flippers on. And it's like, all right. And then the hair was filled in black. Cool. Can't do it. But the hair and legs were both filled in black. Comics, man. So I kept having to like rethink how am I going to do this design so that it looks more realistic. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't really just do like compression leggings So I'll do black shorts so that they kind of taper down because his legs aren't in them anymore. I think now I would probably do it in like cowboy boots or something, I guess. So I decided he was in shorts, and then I decided, oh, well, he'll be like a skater. Such an awkward draw that because I want the lines of the leg to be visible in a cartoon. Why are the such an awkward? So he's a skateboarder. He's based on Rob Dyrdek for some reason. Next page. Here he is with his PR reps, which are public relations representatives. They're like, seaweed, we need to talk. I don't know why they're in like an American Idol sort of like judge stand, but it's like, hey, it's my PR reps. Let me just take my shirt off. Like, why? So it's supposed to represent that seaweed is just he has no respect for these people and he's going to treat them with absolutely no respect. We're on page 32. Holy shit. But yeah, that's some symbolic meaning behind the action here. He's like, oh, cool, it's you guys. I don't really care about you. I'm going to make a fool of myself. And they're like, look, Seaweed, the skateboarding business is no longer just about skateboarding. It's about image. So, like, they're basically building up to the idea that he has to become the underwater superhero I made him, where I'm like, oh, he'll carry around a trident, and you'll say, fork you, haha, because it's almost a swear, because I was in middle school. The next page. Um, so Locke, that's the weird pervert guy, Transformer ripoff, because his because No Name Guy is now a spirit inside of like the Leviathan realm. That left his body open for the other guy to infect it, and that guy had just killed himself. So I guess if you just have killed yourself, then you go into the Leviathan realm. But nobody else has done that. So there's that father design I said, and in the Animorphs book that I ripped it off of, Father's supposed to be this gigantic octopus that uses its tentacles to wrap around your brain and then place you inside of like a mental thing. And basically, what had happened was in the middle school comics, Alex got sucked into it, but Alex has basically no brain, so he gets out quickly, and then Father just becomes a ghost. I I don't know. I also had the idea that Locke would replace one of his arms with like a giant lobster claw. Like, so this is a ripoff of page 11. Yeah. Um, Angry Gerbil. Haha, lol, so random. Invader Zim. This guy, David, he was a main character in the middle school comics. I thought he would be cool if he showed up inside of these. I don't know why I gave everybody like perfect abs. Anyway, I had this whole thing where like angels could show up and then their wings like form into their clothing. So like he has four wings so that two of them can wrap underneath and two of them become the sleeves of his jacket. Angry cooked chickens falling from the sky is a reference to my uncle's book that I think you can buy on Amazon. This page sucks. Take that, society. What was that a reference to? Drawn together, maybe? Sword looks way different than it did earlier. Her proportions are way off. She has Candace's neck from Phineas and Ferb. I don't like it. Okay, so you take a physical body by joining the shade creature, then you retrieve the golden magma claws like you were supposed to do earlier. With the claws, you can open a portal between the two worlds, a portal that I can go through, and then I will be free. Once I'm free, I will destroy this world. They imprisoned me here, now they will die. Too much. Wow. Even I knew it was too edgy. Every death I cause will fuel the shoulder piece. There's another reference to how it like absorbs souls. Now, how do I cause a lot of unnecessary death very quickly? Well, are you in a Brian comic? Fucking Christ. Hmm. Skateboard in water. Ring, ring, ring. Oh, the paneling here. Okay, so it's supposed to go. Let's draw arrows. It's supposed to go from this one to this one to this one, to this one, to this one, to this one, down to here, and then this one. Obviously. Okay, let's start the plan. Ring, ring, ring. What's a shade creature? I mean, it looks freaky. Essentially, demon stem cells. What does that mean? Hi, Seaweed. It's your PR reps. My PR reps? Yes, we were thinking about your idea and we think it's great. Really? Yep, we're going on tonight. Practice. We just heard your idea. We're doing a live show tonight. No. Okay. Next page. Uh, so I don't know, man. I thought it'd be cool if Seaweed and Olivia met up and then talked. I don't know, man. That was amazing, but I still have a few questions. Like, where'd this bed come from? Jesus Christ. I really thought that was funny. I think like so Seaweed guy went to the Museum of Powerful Weapons, I guess for inspiration, and then one of the weapons is a bed that instantly you have sex in. He's naked. Alright. So the shade creature. I kind of like how this portal thing looks. I don't how I'm putting the mask on the shadow creature thing. I don't know, man. Shadow creature thing is like the only thing with it. He's still naked. The sun burns us. So this helmet thing was another character in my middle school comics. His name was Smokescreen. Anything else happening here? He like rips the mask off. That kind of looks cool. This page, nothing to do with it. That character looks very similar to Lockdown in the Transformers animated style. He has like the big old chin, which I don't know. I kept drawing as like a weird trapezoid that just kind of like attaches to the face. His the furrowed brow. Oh crap! This red orb thing. This red orb thing was going to be a major plot point. Essentially, the crown of Taiju has the four gems around it, like north, south, east, west. If you were looking at it from above, and each of those had a different power, but most of them were just like shoot lasers. And it was the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't know what to tell you. It was the Infinity Gauntlet, but it was on a crown. This is supposed to be Clocker Jr. These ash piles look kind of interesting, but they look like rocks. There's Clocker again. He's just kind of sitting there. The gears are okay. Okay, so his hair always covered his eyes. That was going to be a big reveal where his hair comes up and there was just like a camera lens and he was a robot the whole time. I don't think I ended up doing it though. Also, I don't know why that ball is there. I think that's from Power Rangers SPD. But yeah, here's they're putting the robot together. You can really see here with the legs, like it was going to be Transformers animated Prowl. They're putting the wheels into it. The leg even has a Derek Wyatt cut to it. The arms, but then like they're putting a head on it. So I don't know. The only main change is that he had this clock face design for a chest. Like you can see it plugs into it like an outlet. It's so stupid. Here is where my brother said I officially just jumped the shark. Because instead of an ending, I'm like, oh, you know what Transformers really need? And I straight up drew Transformers Animated Lockdown. Is there really anything else I need to cover? Yeah. So the rest of the comic is just me continuously just absolutely jumping the shark. Here's the orbs. I was going to have them float around. They should be colored. That's it. Okay, I'll cover the last few pages. So, this one. Okay. Previously on segment. Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, okay. I was exper I was experimenting with the idea that since nobody seemed to care about the unnamed character dying, so it was like, well, let's kill off a named character then, somebody who the readers actually like. So I devoted this entire page to just Tommy like holding back tears while going back to an abusive father figure. I don't know why nobody like talked to my school counselor about this. So you bring back the beer? No, mom died. Wait, let me just cut you right off. You didn't bring beer, and he, like, fucking. I really liked that jaw shape. He slams him against a wall. My dad used to do that to me a lot. So let's try this again. Now tell me, think hard about this one. Did you bring beer? This right here is a phrase my dad used to say to me a lot. Now you're just trying to piss me off. Look at me. I'm adjusted. He says wrong answer, pulls out a gun. My dad had just recently done that to me, pulled out a gun at me. I'm a well-adjusted human being. And then he shoots him. Like I said, I was feeling very suicidal when I was writing this. Next page. It's amazing how decomposed it is after only a few hours. It really is. So this is Locke going back to his old body, and there was going to be this huge subplot reveal, but I didn't really care too much anymore because of the whole wanting to die thing. But yeah, the crown of Taiju, the actual crown piece, was inside of Locke's chest the whole time, which was supposed to explain like how he could survive despite the fact that he had all these different blood types going on with all the different organs that he stole randomly and indiscriminately. So the crown of Taiju was inside of his rib cage, the actual crown without. So this is like the Infinity Gauntlet without the gems in it. Like it kept him alive just long enough to keep itself preserved. Like it was a self-preservation technique that the actual item inside of his chest had. So it was keeping him alive even though he was doing horrible, horrible things constantly. But the second that his soul was separated from the body, the crown had no reason to keep the body alive, so it immediately decomposed into a skeleton, which I don't think was clearly represented in the comic or explained in any sort of fashion. I made this over 10 years ago. But yeah. But he's like, behold the crown of Taiju, I put it in my chest for safekeeping, but we saw it inside of the museum, so there's really no reason for this. Uh, yeah, but he's even like holding it in such a way that I could draw it so that you could clearly see that the gem pieces are not in place. It's missing 4 red gems for it, so like you can see that there's a plot forming because Clocker Jr., who's related to that Clocker guy, who was supposed to be like a camera thing, had one of the red gems that was going to go inside of this crown thing, and it's like there was definitely a plot going on. Um, but then immediately we get to the next page where it's a recap, and I'm like, stuff happened, and then I say, screw you. I just I started drawing hands like mittens because fingers are hard. There's that page with the helmet and the 4 gem orb things. So Seaweed's plan is to strap himself to a skateboard so that he can skateboard underwater. And the trick to this is that skateboards float, so like he's going to drown. The helmet that he stole from the Museum of Powerful Weapons is a secondary character named Smokescreen, and Smokescreen is supposed to talk him out of it or maybe talk him into it. I don't know. And then I'm like, too many characters. So at this point, I was having a mental breakdown. And then I immediately introduced more characters. So these characters are drawn really bad, and I would never go back to these designs. But yeah. So this one is Bird, spelled with a Y. This one is Shade, also spelled with a Y. And then this one is named Kevin, but his original name was K. His last name was Nine because he's a werewolf. He's a K9. So yeah, basically they're telling like a backstory character, and I'm like, well, I'll draw him with like a weird muzzle on his face so that people can tell he's like a dog, and then it doesn't look really like furries, but it kind of does. Mostly it does because of the legs and the tail. These are super. Oh my god. We're almost done. We're almost done. We're almost done. So there's the advisor character, and he was very early on in the comic, so he doesn't have an over designed design. He's just wearing a t-shirt, and he's like, "Who the hell are you? This rope should work. That will never work. Who are you, and what are you doing in my house? Freedom, sweet, sweet freedom. Oh, nose. Christ." For those of you watching this who did not grow up in the mid 2000s, I envy you. Suffering? Oh my god, where's Tommy? And why would suffering make me think of him? So close to done. Okay, we have the freaking crown. Where's that angel? Well, exposition. And that's why we need the crown. Ah, so you mean that fan speculation may happen due to the incorrect interpretation and kill us all? Only if fan theory happens. So I actually did have a couple of people in my high school who liked this comic. I didn't. Now, spoiler alert, the fourth wall is gone. And the next page, confusing, convoluted storyline involving normal characters and godlike individuals coexisting in peace. The drama. And then the final page is just seaweed drowning. So yeah, that's my edgy comic that I drew as a teenager. It sucks. It was never finished. I don't like it. Characters are awful. Alright, bye.